Crews are cleaning up what used to be a three-story building in Columbus's King Lincoln Bronzeville neighborhood.
Yeah, parts of that century-old structure just collapsed this week in what the city called a catastrophic failure. NBC4 Investigates Jamie Ostroff looked into whether that building could have been saved before it came crashing down. It was a good-looking building at one point, Jamie.
It really was. There's so much history and character in that neighborhood, and I went ahead and took a look at it by requesting records from the city's Building and Zoning Services Department for the building at the corner of 20th and East Long Streets back when it looked like this. Pretty nice, right? Well, I learned that inspectors and code enforcement have visited this place in recent years. There are no documented clues that the structure would fail. Duawadi was working from home when this happened.
There you go. There it is.
That's got to be the most random thing that's ever happened in this decade.
Wadi lives 2 doors down from what was once a 3-story brick building. She's only lived here since March, but would often talk to longtime Bronzeville residents when she'd stop by the convenience store, which was on the building's first floor.
It's nice to see a lot of people who have lived here for a really long time still living here and just kind of sharing their take on, the history of the neighborhood.
Wadi told me the collapse came as a surprise to her, and so did city officials.
We've had some code violations on this property, but most of those are external, where high weeds, trash, cars parking where they shouldn't. Nothing that would give any indication that the building was going to have a failure the way it did.
Anthony Celebrezzi is the deputy director of Columbus's Building and Zoning Services Department. He says we may never know why 1032 East Long Street collapsed.
Because there was no way of sending anybody in once that had collapsed, because there was so much debris that was waiting to fall.
But here's one possibility.
A number of the most recent failures have been because there was a vacant floor. Water got in there and started loosening the mortar up, loosening the wood up, and then we had a wall failure.
Aside from the convenience store on the ground level, Celebrezzi says the only other occupant was the building's owner, who lived on the 3rd floor. Something Wadi was surprised to learn.
I thought it was abandoned, so I'm glad he wasn't home.
And perceptions like Wadi's are important, Celebrezzi told me. He says the only way for the city to know if a building might be unsafe is to report it.
The word for people to think about is severe. If there are bricks falling down, that's severe. If there's large cracks or sagging in walls or inside or outside, give 311 a call, and we'll figure out, we'll come out and look at it and do at least some investigation.
Now, of course, we have a right to privacy, which is why inspectors will not enter a building unless they're invited by a tenant or the owner of that building. But there are some things you can inspect yourself inside your home and see if you need to call 311. Celebrezzi said the biggest clues that something is wrong are the floors changing pitch and several severe cracks in the drywall.